surrounding me with your energy.
What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl Jania, and welcome back to my channel. So if you're here, it's because you want to see how I accomplish this look on my bob length hair, y'all. I feel like I just feel so achieved. I feel so accomplished right now. So if you want to see how I achieve this look, then keep watching. So to jump right into it, I'm starting off on silk pressed hair. I wasn't really doing anything with my silk press, so this was my way to kind of like repurpose it, I guess. So what I'm going to do first is I'm parting my hair down the middle from ear to ear, and this part does not have to be perfect whatsoever because it's not like we're doing a half up, half down or anything, but it's kind of just so we can kind of like segment the hair off and work with a little at a time instead of trying to do, you know, like one big ponytail. So I'm going to put the back section into this little ponytail, and I'm going to start working there first. And so for this style, the gel I'm going to use, I'm using the Gummy Professional gel, and that's just going to be what I'm using to slick this up. I will say, when you're working on silk pressed hair, you can also work with like a little hairspray or whatever since your hair is already straight, but I really wanted to try this gel out, so yeah. And as y'all can see, the kitchen is kitchening, and so we're going in with the green Gummy Professional, and I believe that is the matte format, and I'm just applying that really mainly at the back. And I'm going to use a not necessarily too fine tooth, but a little rat tail comb to slick my hair up. And I'm using a comb just because I feel like the comb really makes sure you get every strand of hair compared to a brush, which kind of just glides over the top. So then from there, I'm parting my hair down the middle, and once again, this is also so we can just work with small sections at a time. And once I part it down the middle, I'm now going through and I'm forming my V part. Now for mine, I didn't really want the V part as like, I didn't really want the parts as definite, hence why I'm kind of doing my part like a little inverted, so my V is going like inwards. Whereas if you want your parts to be visible, then you need to do your part with the V going outward. So basically the smaller end of the V will be at your forehead, and the bigger it'll get wider as it's going back. If you do it where it's like mine and it's getting like more narrow as you're going back, then as you get further to the back, you won't be able to see your parts, okay, which y'all will see in my ponytail. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there. If you want to see your parts, the narrow end needs to be at your forehead. If you want to kind of just see the parts at the beginning, then do what I'm doing. And so as y'all can see, I took a whole lot of that gel, and I'm just using that to slick my hair all the way back, because if you know anything about having short hair, it is that you're gonna have to use, you know, a little bit of gel. And while honestly I feel like I underestimated this gel a little bit, I did not expect it to be this strong. So if you're using this gel, you don't need as much, and it gets your hair really slick and really like sets it in. And so what I'm doing, I'm just using the comb to kind of blend the front half with the back half. So you'll kind of need to take your comb and like make sure they're all kind of going in the same direction, and that's why it's important to make sure you have that back ponytail like centered where you actually want the ponytail to be, so that way when you're going through and matching everything up, it actually lines up. And as for doing this middle section, what I really like to do on the middle section is, as I'm combing like the beginning part, I kind of comb that part inwards just so my part can like show briefly at the beginning, just a little bit, probably like an inch worth apart showing at the beginning, and to make sure it's really flat, because I don't know if y'all have ever had a little ponytail with a hump in it, but we do not want no hump in our ponytails, okay? What I like to do is with that middle part, I'll split that middle part in half, I guess like horizontally or whatever, and slick back one part first, and then go back and then slick back the final part. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's what I like to do just to ensure that it's flat. And as y'all can see here, I'm literally just adjusting my part, because this is when I realized, okay, you know, this is where you choose how much of your part you actually want to show. So yeah, but I do highly recommend kind of doing like a rough draft ponytail before using the gel, because once you put this gel on your head, y'all, once you put this gel on your head, it's very hard to kind of go back and move hair around and readjust it once the hair is set in by the gel. So I highly recommend like going through, making sure your part's straight, or making sure your ponytail is going to somewhat look relatively close to how you want it to look before you put the gel on, because this Gummy Professional gel, she's no joke. And if you do need kind of the gel to loosen up just a little bit, it may help to mist it with just a little bit of water, not too much because you don't want your hair to curl up, but just enough to loosen up the gel a little bit, so that way you're able to either, you know, comb or just kind of move your hair around the way you want it to be.
I thought that I was dreaming when you said you loved me.
And so once my hair is somewhat in place, that's when I kind of go through with the brush. And I use the brush after the comb because I use the comb to make sure like all the hairs are basically in line, because y'all know like sometimes when you use the brush, it's kind of almost like a little band-aid for your hair. Like your hair be all like tangled and matted under the top layer, and that's how you be having them humps. The best way for you to not have no humps and have a super like flat and seamless ponytail is to use a comb and then use a brush. So once I use my comb, I kind of like to go through with my brush just to kind of, you know, flatten everything down, and yeah, just to make sure everything is seamless. So the brush is like the last like polishing step. So then once I'm going through and I'm like putting my hair tie on, the way I like to do this, and it honestly just depends on the style, but I feel like when I'm using like multiple parts in a style, so for example this one I parted ear to ear, then I parted my hair down the middle, then I parted like another part down the middle or whatever. What I like to, I'm singing, child. Well, what I like to do sometimes with that is I'll use multiple hair ties, so that way I'm not constantly like loosening my hair up and then having to pull it back. So I'll use multiple hair ties, and that's why I try to, you know, use some that are relatively like lightweight and aren't too tight, and also won't like pull my hair and give it like too much attention. But I take basically the second hair tie once I'm doing like the second part, and I just wrap that around the first hair tie, and same thing with the third. And so I've realized like this just kind of helps you make sure each part is as flat as the first one. And then last but not least, I'm going over the initial Gummy Professional styling wax with the hair gel. And I find that like a combination of like a wax plus a gel just really helps like your hair, edges, whatever you use. I feel like it helps it last a long time. Like for example, with my edge, my typical edge routine, I usually use like the edge booster edge control with the extreme hair gel, which y'all know has like an eco styler type consistency. And so same thing with this, I'm using the Gummy Professional styling wax with the Gummy Professional hair gel. And so that's what I'm using to do my edges. And kind of like with my swoops, I don't really do them the same every time. I kind of just switch it up depending on how I'm feeling, but I definitely like to make sure my swoops are matching on both sides, point blank period. Make sure the swoops are matching. And this gel doesn't really turn white, but I found like with some of these gels you do need a little bit of water just to kind of like, I don't know, something about misting it with a little bit of water really just like gets that little white cast or whatever away. So when I do see my gels kind of turning white, I mist it with a little bit of water and rub the water in and call it a day, child. Call it a day. But anyways, y'all, here's the final look. Let me know if y'all try this hairstyle and let me know what y'all think. I feel like this was something different for me, but I definitely enjoyed being able to still do the same hairstyles with short hair. Okay, y'all, and here is the final look. And y'all, I'm actually so proud and happy that I was able to achieve this with my bob. So best believe the gel will be linked on my YouTube shop, and also down below you can also find it on my LTK. But y'all, like, get into it, because why is it looking like I have more hair than I actually do? That's crazy. But anyways, you already know, click, smack that subscribe button down below, and I will see y'all on my next video.
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months.